Okay, battery's running low, so I'm going to have to speed up here a little bit. 85. Do I see a change? 57, maybe 57 and a quarter. 90. I'm going to say 58. 95. I'm going to still say 58. We're up to 100. 100. I'm going to say 58 and a half. 105. 59. Caught it that time. We got 109 instead of 110, so it backed off a little bit. I take it back up to 110. And then it is still 59. Okay, we are at 115, and we are at 60 millimeters. 120. My battery is complaining again. Okay, 5 minutes of messing around with my phone because I ran out of battery and I'm now charging it. We got things set up. We're back at 60 millimeters, and we dropped from 200 pounds to, about 120 pounds to about 118. We're just going to go back up to 120. Check again. We seem to be at 60 millimeters. We're going to go 125. I heard something from the connections to the shed. It's a hair over 60. I'm going to say 60 and a quarter. We go to 130. And I'm going to reset this. 1 millimeter. I'd say it's more like 60 and a half or 60 and 3/4. We're going to 135. There we are at 61 and 140. More like 61 and a quarter. We're backed off to 138. We'll go to 145. I really have to reset this. 62 millimeters. Not quite. So we're at 61 and a half or 61 and 3/4. 150 pounds. There we go. 62 millimeters. Okay, 4 minutes left the phone charging. Got something to drink. Let this stabilize out a bit. So it dropped from 150 to 148. This fell over, of course. And we'll see if it's still somewhere around 62 millimeters. Of course, that fell off too. This isn't a very good gauge, but it's all I got. Okay, 62 millimeters is approximately the same. So we're going to go up to past 150 to 155. And it has distorted more. So at 63 millimeters, not quite. I'd say about 62 and a half. So we're going up from 155 to 160. 160, we are, I would say 63 millimeters is where we are. 165. Is past 63 millimeters. not quite the 64. 170. I'm hearing more groaning from the shed. Connections. Okay, here we are past 64 millimeters. Let's see about 65. I'd say 64 and a half. So the rate does appear to be accelerating. Okay, we just gave the phone a couple more minutes to catch up. We dropped from 170 to 168. So I'm going to go back to 170. Let's do a quick check here. I would say we are at 65 millimeters. 170 is pretty close to 500 pounds. I'm 34 inches here instead of 36. They had to trim it off a little bit when they were doing the welding on that end to make it square. So we're at 175 pounds, and we are a hair over 65 millimeters. Going up to 180. At 180, I'm going to have to move it. 66. About 65 and a half, I'd say. Going up to 185. 185, we are at 66 millimeters. Going up to 90. 190 pounds. We are more than 66 millimeters, but not quite 67. 2 more pumps to get us, a little bit more than 2 pumps to get us to 195 pounds. And we are 67 millimeters. And in just that short time, we dropped a pound. So, 200 pounds. 200 pounds. Let's move her to 63. I would say we're at 63. We dropped to 198. I'm going to push it back to 200. And we are more than 63 millimeters right now. I would say that we are significantly or noticeably going over the edge of the curve, over the knee of the curve. Second time I pumped it up, that was only a pound that time. And I'd say 68 millimeters, we are over that. Over to 69, more noises from my shed. I believe we're not lifting the shed, but the connections are suffering. Okay, we've stabilized at 200, going to 205. How much difference? Of course, it moved. We were at 68 millimeters. And we are all of 68 millimeters, and it's going higher. So we're still at 205. We'll let it rest here for a couple minutes. Turn the video off and let the camera catch up in charging. Okay, that was 7 minutes. Took me to go make another iced coffee. We are down from 205 to 202. We'll go back to 205. We'll check. And we are over 68. 9. We're not quite to 69. We'll go to 210. Puts us, I believe, past 69. 70 millimeters. Okay. 215 pounds. That took 4 pumps, not 2. And we have some more significant distortion. We are we're past 70, not quite to 71 millimeters. We're down to 214. We're back to 215. Yeah, I'd say it's 70 and a half. Right up to 220. Okay, I'd say we are definitely over the knee of the curve. That took 5 pumps, I'm going to say. And we are past 72 millimeters. Not quite to 73. We are still at 220 though. The 220 pounds going to 225. I can't make it to 225. Okay, just making sure. No, it looks like I destroyed the joint for no reason. My scale has bottomed out. Even though it technically goes to 300 pounds, the bridge of the 2x6 isn't letting the bed or the dial rotate anymore. So I would say that this particular test is done. We're going to back off the pressure and see how far it springs back. I think that we have a significant amount of permanent deflection. So contact was right about here, and right now we are a ways away from contact. We are at approximately 17 millimeters. So if we had 2 millimeters to original contact, we have 15 millimeters of distortion at the end of the bar, which is not too very good. Okay, we got the square set up again. 67 millimeters is how far out of square we are. We started out at 50. And the scale has returned back to, well, maybe half a pound under zero. So I think the scale isn't bent. I just think we hit the top of the scale, or top of what it will display with the 2x6 in this position. I was going to do further testing on this particular tube, having it turned sideways and then measuring the deflection. But I think maybe I'll use one of these other joints for that test, just because this one's obviously been weakened. We've got distortion. There's really no point in going through all the trouble of doing the test and then finding out that I started out with a weakened joint to begin with and that nothing is valid.